Thank you for this opportunity, especially from the committee Integratif Theologia Conference. I wrote a paper or an article, Princeton Theological Seminary Journal, still in process. I entitled my thought, my searching from the Bible, of course, local leaders for leadership of global rescue mission. Tomorrow I will explain this paper in Indonesia, but now I'm talking in English. Sorry for you are not familiar with English, but I hope you can understand with your sense. Okay, one more time, my title is, my article title, Local Leaders for Leadership of Global Rescue Mission, based on the Gospel of Mark 16, verse 15 until 20. This article explores Mark 16, verse 15 to 20, is to cover the fundamental reason local church leader engage leadership of global rescue mission. The finding of this study affirmed the inevitability of the role of the local leaders in global mission leadership, because it is according to God's ultimate purpose. Ultimate purpose start from the plant-like process of being planted, rooted. Look at planted, rooted, and growing, protecting, bearing fruits. And this process, I mentioned this is a gospelization of the world, from the local leaders' role to the world. And this will overcome this outcome, I hope, can overcome the self-destructive tendency of centralization or Babelization. You know, this word came from Babel. Babylonian, and Babelization or centralization. Centralization, same understand with the Babelization. And I hope this article can provide the direction and energy to fulfill the ultimate purpose of God's mission leadership in this world. Keywords: local leaders, global mission leadership, local come from global and local leaders, mission leadership, and rescue mission, and proclaiming the gospel. Of course, only one agenda: proclaiming the gospel. Okay, we start introduction, the background of the problem. Since creation, God has never stopped leading this world. Do you believe it? God never stopped leading you, leading us, leading this world, leading Indonesia, leading America, leading South of Korea, leading all this earth. He is always leading until now and tomorrow, until his purpose can be finished. With his infinite power, he continued to lead this finite world to his appointed end, mencapai tujuan akhirnya. He's always leading us. Dunia ini sedang dipimpin oleh Tuhan untuk mencapai tujuannya. Therefore, karena itu, throughout the history of this world, he has continued to appoint, prepare, send, use agent. Look at, he appoint, prepare, sending, and use the agents of his leadership. Missionary, pastor, leaders, any local leaders in God's leadership. And God is leading this world through you and I, for his purpose. in particular, God lead his people through local leaders. Who is the local leader? Local leader is apostle, prophets, evangelist, pastor, and teacher, according to Ephesians chapter 4, verse 11 until 12. Local leaders do not only lead people as a single culture group in one geographical location, like PNI, or certain area in this world, Africa, certain nation, certain tribe, sub-tribe, no, but more than that, local leaders, leads people in multitude culture groups in various geographical locations spread across many regions of the world. Local leaders do not only influence the people they lead to achieve their organization goal, they also influence people they lead to achieve their organization goal, but rather influence people with the truth of God's word. That's mine. That's ours. Political leaders, social leaders in the society, they lead this nation to lead the goal of the organization. But the servant of the Lord, you and I, leading this world to reach the God's goals. Oh, wonderful to be a servant of the Lord. Why? Because we are leading with God, who leading this world to reach out his goal, not your goal, not Indonesian goal, but God's goal. Wonderful. Which is to glorify and enjoy God fullest. We glorify God and we enjoy him until fulfilling his purpose, according to Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 28. This mission purpose continued through Abraham and then one nation, Israel, a mission to death of David, Solomon, with their king until the coming of Christ, to the mission of the early church and the apostle Paul, all of which were mission of God's leadership over the nation. This revelation, okay, I will tell you, in the history, according to the Bible, many times humans rebel God because they want to lead this world only to reach out their own goals. They don't care about God's goal. So that's why this I call rebellion, pemberontakan. This rebellion against God's purpose began with the king Nimrod. You still remember Genesis? Nimrod, and his kingdom of the Babylon, for the kings of Israel and local prophets, among them Jonah. Okay, you still remember Jonah? Yunus, he reject God's goal, but he lived for God's purpose. They reject the task of the global mission leadership, the mission of leading the nation to God, leading people to God. You become the servant of the Lord because you want to lead people come to God, come back to God, bring them back to God. That's our main task, our main responsibility as a servant of the Lord. Okay, and then they reject the task of the global mission leadership, the mission of leading the nation to God. This was repeated the early church, diulangi pada gereja mula-mula, where church leaders reject the mission for making disciples of all nations, according to Matthew 28, verse 18 to 20, or rejected the cross-culture mission, just as did by Nimrod and his kingdom. Just want to build a kingdom, and many pastors just build a kingdom, small kingdom, until the end of their life. So they did in vain. This rejection of God's highest purpose continued to be repeatedly by local church leaders who evangelize for the sake of a local church growth. Yes, they have evangelism program. For what? What for? For making local church become big and bigger. For the sake of the fame, of their fame growing. Jadi menginjili hanya untuk menambah jumlah orang. Motifnya semangat menginjili, semangat evangelize people, but only making the local church growing, and so that they can have a lot of offerings from the church member, and the pastor become rich man. Amen. And oriented only toward the Jerusalem mission, building a mega church like the Tower of the Babel, like Robert Schuller with Crystal Cathedral Church that went bankrupt to the financial scandals. I visited this church twice, Los Angeles, 2009 and 2011. I went there and I saw the big church, the luxury church, Crystal Cathedral Crystal Church. But after that, because the money problem with a family problem, David Yongki Cho, Yodoful Gospel with the congregation, more than 480,000 church member. Waketenan, tak ngerti masih baru ini. Waketenan, bahasa Jawa. Then got involved in a scandals and ends up the prison. Yeah, I think most of you have already known. The mega churches trend in spreading in many cities in Indonesia, as Bethany's church in Surabaya, the congregation 36,000 people. Gospel of the Kingdom in Semarang, Central Java, 12,000 church members. Mawar Saron Church in Jakarta, 10,000 church members. Family of God in Solo, 30,000 and more. Yeah. Mega churches are not only because the number of members, but also about their contemporary patterns of movement. The leaders of such churches are more oriented toward enlarging the church organization by increasing the number of church members. Unfortunately, such churches have become model for other churches in Indonesia and many countries. Many rural churches and pastor invite big pastor from Jakarta, from Surabaya, from mega church leaders, from mega church. We invite to these many rural churches, so they become a model. But they forgot the model from the Bible. They just follow the model from the world. So, in response to local leaders' resistance to leadership in global mission, the nation, a number of studies have emerged. Muncullah sejumlah. One of them, Mary Ho, wrote about a title, Global Leadership for Global Mission. This is an article. For her, global leaders are visionary leaders who are cross national, cultural, and organizational boundaries. Very good. I think this is very good thought on idea. Paul Joshua Bhattacharya from Indians, he is Indian, has also discussed the local leaders in a global church. Very good title, interesting thought. Kirk Franklin argued the church leadership is steeped in the industrial age because the church is an agent and products of globalization, resulting in polytheism. Sen Prat answered the question, why training local leaders matters in mission. The purposes leaders training in 21st century, theological education for missionary or outreach. No study. For me, I have not found any study about local leaders for global mission leadership based on the Mars. This is I call kebaharuan. You see, most of them some of you are lecturers, theological lecturers. So it's very important to identify novelty. So I mean, nobody wrote about this title, about this article. Maybe I'm alone. Until now, as far as I know, I do this one with the aim, dengan tujuan finding the fundamental reason for the involvement of local leaders in the leadership of the mission of the nation. Okay, finding and discussion. The context of today leaders, global or local leadership polarization. The tendency of leaders today is always down to one pole only, namely local, or global. Because of the spirit of globalization in the 21st century, postmodern worldview is changing the world with the same mindset, lifestyle, just as a non-church organization. So that's why many churches today, they look like any organization, like political organization, look not like the Bible. The churches today not look like the Bible. So that's why Pastor Sin always mention the gospel in the church today has lost. And I hope you can find it again through restoration, through reformation. But the first step, you must experience what Pastor Park taught this morning. Taught this morning. Remnant, reformation, and international. Still remember? Remnant, your reformation, remnant, and international. Give me one. Yes, I have the committee give me 1 hour, but I have for today only 30 minutes. Because I read my presentation hour. Nobody care. Just leaders globalize their. This is the English. America, we can use the globalize. It is American style, but globalize their movement on an organization. Look at the screen. Homogenization. I'm not hate the charismatic movement. I do not hate. Saya nggak benci karismatik. Saya pun ada karismatiknya. Mau ke Eropa sama. Ada istilah sini game. Saja some local churches in Indonesia opening branches in many countries. Gereja lokal di Indonesia membuka cabang-cabang di negara-negara lain. Tapi namanya gereja GBI Sydney, GBI contoh, GBI Hong Kong, GBI apa, GBI ini. Untuk apa ya? Lebih memopulerkan gereja daripada Injil. Popularize the church organization than the gospel. This is I mentioned. This is globalization or globalization or Babylization. Babilo. Yeah. Again, This is the trends many churches today, which globalize their leaders. Mengglobalkan pemimpin mereka, mengglobalkan organisasi. Hati-hati. Ya, harus mengglobalkan Injil. Jangan mengglobalkan. Memang kita ya sekarang di Laos, sekolah di sana adalah kerjasama antara World Partners dan YTII. Maka itu sekolah di Laos adalah RRI. Ya, Sekolah Tinggi Agama Kristen Reform Remnant Internasional. Ya, nggak ada gunanya nama RRI di Laos. Tetapi yang paling penting bagaimana Injil itu dilaoskan, dikambojakan, dibirmakan, dicinakan. Injil yang harus mendunia. The gospel, it must be globalized in this world. Okay? Jangan mengglobalkan organisasi. Jangan mengglobalkan pemimpinnya. Jangan membuat terkenal pemimpinnya daripada Injil. In addition, local church leaders tend to limit the church only to respective function of offices like apostle, prophets, evangelists, pastor, and church teacher. Jadi hanya membatasi pada ini yang saya katakan. Tugas-tugas gereja sekarang lebih cenderung karena salah pengertian karena pembagian jabatan gerejawi. Ya, jabatan rasul, nabi, kemudian penginjil, gembala dikotak-kotakan. Sebenarnya kalau kita teliti teks ini tidak ada penajaman perbedaan peran. Sebenarnya according to me from searching the Bible, the prophet is evangelist. The pastor is prophet. The apostle is teacher. Do you agree with me? Pastor is evangelist. The pastor is a teacher. The evangelist is pastor. Missionary is teacher. Kamu belum mengerti. Sebab because kalau pastor itu hanya pastor, tidak mau ngajar. I'm pastor. I do my pastorate task. Evangelist, let other people evangelize. Ini kan kecelakaan. Sudah berabad-abad kesalahan gereja selama ini. Kenapa? Terlalu mempertajam tugas-tugas gereja pada kotak-kotak nabi, penginjil. Saya pikir I am pastor, but I am evangelist as well. I am missionary. Yeah, I am. You're very serious, so that's why I give you some joke. Yeah, in fact, all of this position, I have 5 minutes, still 5 minutes. Positions are in integral parts of the function of a local church. Multiple rules. Multiple rules. For example, Paul, he was a missionary, okay, and he was a pastor, and he was a teacher, and he was a leader. I mentioned multiple roles. As far as I know, my friend's Dr. Gunario, he was a leader local. He was a local leader. He was a synod church leader. He was a leader of a school of theology. He's a pastor. He's missionary. So that's my interpretation about the Ephesians chapter 4, verse 11 until 12. A multiple role. So maybe more than 5 centuries, many churches did mistake to emphasize only one role, but the meaning is multiple roles. position and gift can exist in a leader. But what is clear is that one local church has several leaders with multiple tasks. Okay, position and gift, all of which are one unit. One unit. Look at the screen. Prophets, evangelists, pastor, teacher, apostle, one unit and multiple roles. God doesn't want pastor not to evangelize not to shepherd their congregation, pastor and evangelist not to teach, teacher not to evangelize and shepherd. All these church offices are for the sole purpose of equipping believers for building up of a body of Christ. In reality, more budget allocation are more frequent pastoral, counseling, educational activities than evangelism. We must be sincere. Why? Evangelism, the project, program, and budget, only few. But makang-makang, but fellowship, but pastoral, budget. A lot of budget. Budgeting. For maintaining the church, for improve the organization, many budgets, a lot of budget. But evangelism, we are crying. Why? Susah. This tells us many churches are unhealthy, maybe dying, maybe sleeping churches, dying churches, because the pastor also dying and sleeping. Thank you very much. We continue this material tomorrow.